Straight ahead, dozens killed, more than 1,000 wounded as violence continues in Egypt. Republican presidential candidates prepare to address Egypt in their latest debate. And the Christmas tree, that really one big ornament. You won't believe how much it's worth. Here's your morning briefing this Tuesday. Egyptians are battling police again to express their frustration with military rule. 36 people have died so far, while more than 1,250 have been wounded in the clashes. Generals scramble to cope with the cabinet's proffered resignation. Amnesty International accused a ruling council of brutality, sometimes exceeding that of former President Hosni Mubarak. Egypt will serve as one topic of conversation during a face-off among Republican presidential candidates this evening. The debate focused on national security and foreign policy takes place in Washington. It's the first internationally themed matchup for the candidates. It comes as a slew of polls have put former House Speaker Newt Gingrich in first place. This includes a Quinnipiac poll out today that has him 4 points ahead of Mitt Romney. President Obama, meanwhile, travels to the first primary state of New Hampshire today. He'll push Congress to preserve the payroll tax cut that's set to expire at the end of the year. His trip comes one day after the bipartisan supercommittee said it would not be able to reach a compromise on cutting the nation's debt. President Obama may have to answer questions about the nation's economic output after the second report on third quarter GDP showed a growth rate of 2%, well below the 2.5% expected, which is reported in the first reading. We've got stocks opening lower following the gloomier economic news, the Dow down 0.25%, as well as the S&P 500. Stocks were higher in Europe across the board, but have now lost some ground. Let's go to Axel Throff in London for an update. Axel?
Yeah, that's right, Fred. A pretty mixed session today. We were up at the start, but hit the ground with a bang after Spain was forced to pay the highest rate in 14 years on a sale of government debt. Clearly, that landslide victory for the Conservative People's Party has done next to nothing to ease market pressure on Spain. Remember, this auction was seen as the first test of whether the Prime Minister-elect Rajoy could reassure the markets. Executive pay is back in the headlines in the UK. An independent commission has come out with its proposals on overhauling pay. The basic message: it needs to be radically simplified, and companies need to set up internal committees to end what it called corrosive runaway awards. The inquiry, by the way, found that pay for some top executive roles has risen more than 40-fold in the past 30 years, while average wages are up just 3 times. And Pippa Middleton's dress is back in the news. For whatever reason, we all remember Kate's sister Pippa from the royal wedding. Well, the only available version by the actual designer can now be yours for just over $3,000. There are so many quips I could make right now, but I want to be here for the bulletin tomorrow, so I'm going to hand it back, Fred.
I won't ask you any questions there, but that's one dress a lot of guys are also interested in, too. Thanks a lot, Axel. And finally, Santa's elves must have spent a long time on this one. It's a golden Christmas tree made of 26 pounds of pure gold. Tokyo's Ginza Tanaka jewelry store unveiled the sparkly piece Tuesday. Now, based on gold's current price by weight, the tree's worth about $700,000. But the marketing manager for the store says based on the work involved, he put the price tag at about $2 million. The store has no plans to sell the tree. 2 lost decades, and a $2 million tree. Go figure. Well, that's your morning briefing this Tuesday. I'm Fred Katayama, and this is Reuters.